Hello and welcome to the May Energy Forecast. If this is the first time you're tuning in, welcome. My name is Grace New. I'm a Feng Shui consultant, intuitive guide, and destiny mentor. So each month, I use Feng Shui and Destiny chart to tune into the key themes for the collective so you can navigate your life with ease. And before we dive into the May energy forecast, I want to have a little announcement. In June, I'm going to host a masterclass. And as we are approaching the half-year mark, I can't believe that we are almost a half-year mark of Year of the Tiger. I really want to bring you some insights in terms of the Feng Shui, particularly using Flying Star. Now, as we're moving into the Feng Shui age 9, you will know that information and facts will be wildly accessible. So that is not the key for your success. That is not the key for you to live a divinely guided life. The key is how you're going to utilize those information. And I have many people come to me as of this morning. This lady just emailed me and say, I stumbled across your website looking for information or the connection between emotion and 5-element and Feng Shui. And this is where I find you. And you do Feng Shui differently. And she had this huge epiphany of how she has been doing Feng Shui by doing a little adjustment or tricks won't cut it anymore. And this is her exact word. She said, it just don't cut anymore. Why? Because if you are just using Feng Shui as to rearrange your furniture or to finding different things to place in different corners, hanging crystals, you are not accessing the full magic of Feng Shui. And I want you to have the full magic, full experience of how Feng Shui can evolutionize your life. Because when we use Feng Shui correctly, we really see beyond the information and facts. We use to connect the seen and the unseen. We help you not only just from the physical level, but from the emotional, behavioral, your mindset, your thoughts, your thinking pattern, your personal growth, as well as your spiritual growth, spiritual lessons. And this is how Feng Shui can unravel so many things within your life. And in June, this masterclass I want to share with you is really to help you to experience how Feng Shui actually can be applied on so many levels for you, for your life. And I'm going to make it very accessible for everyone. And so if this is something that you are interested in, feel free to jump onto the link below the video and then sign up. Now let's dive into the May energy forecast. So this month is the Yin Wood Snake month. It started from the 5th of May till the 5th of June. As many of us moving towards the end of April, you might have felt this heavy, foggy feeling or feeling confused, feeling scattered with all these options being presented to you or the issues or challenges or informations being revealed to you. So this is very much as we move towards the end of the April. If you recall, most of the element in April were young. So a lot of things has been thrown at us. But the decisions or the solutions was not very clear towards the end of April. And it feels like this picture, right? You're walking through this misty mountain with very heavy fog. The path is just not very clear. As we're moving into May, as you can see, that the sun is out. And because the snake, the animal of snake, heralds this fire energy, right? So when the fire energy comes in May, it will help to dissipate this foggy feeling, this confusion. You will start to see things clearly. What I would suggest is at the start or at the first week or so of May, still taking it very slow. Some of you may feel this part of the time or this part of the month feels a little bit like the void time. I call it the void. It feels like you have a lot of things needs to be decided, yet create this space for the void. Create this ebb time so you can actually fully flow in the second half in May, because it does take time for the sun to fully penetrate this thick fog, or for the fog to lift it gradually. So it will take a few weeks. So don't rush into any decisions, okay? What I want to show you though is this is the chart, 4 pillars of destiny chart for the month of May. And as you can see, within this chart, you have the mountain, the young earth, you have the fire sitting underneath, although it might take time for it to show up to the surface. You also have the wood and water on top. The only element that is missing is metal. What does that mean? What does metal represent in this month? So I want you to hold that thought. Let's look at the 2 waters first. The 2 young water showing up in the month of May represents wealth, represents money. So does this money means money in our hands? Does this means the wealth that easily being obtained, acquired, right? In order to answer that, I want to take you back to the yearly chart of Tiger. Do you see these 2 young water sitting on top again? And if you recall the masterclass I shared in early this year, for 2022 year of the Tiger, young water represents the wealth. But this wealth, because it sits on the 7 killing, what does this mean? It means that its foundation is not stable. And now coming back to the May monthly energy, this means that the wealth element has no substance, has no foundation. The wealth element being water, and with the metal element is missing, it means there is no source for this wealth because metal produces water. Okay, so there is nothing to fall back on. We see a lot of money throwing around. This is where the inflation, around the world is not such a surprise in Year of the Tiger, because the wealth is building on a very, very vulnerable foundation. Okay, so you will see that things start to show up in the financial market, in the stock market. There will be a sense of instability showing up, okay? There is a little bit of unpredictability as well. And during this kind of broader environment, again, this information is not to bring you fear. In fact, in Chinese, there is a word, direct translation is crisis and opportunity. And this very much is the key theme I want to bring it to you. After this foggy time, after the clarity starting to show in, the picture start to get a little bit clearer. Empower yourself with this fact that crisis creates opportunity. And if you follow, this is the beauty of knowing Feng Shui, of knowing the destiny chart. If you follow majority of the population, you will see fear in the news. You will feel scared to do this, to invest that. But do we want to follow most people? Are most people financially secure? Are most people living abundant life? In period 9, the most important thing is to see what others don't, and also to see that where is unseen. And this is where how I teach you to see the unseen, to not necessarily follow 90% of the majority of the population, so you can actually live a divinely, wildly wealthy life. In crisis, there are opportunities. In crisis, this is a time that we make a move. There are a lot of money you can make as far as you know that decision is made on a solid foundation. So do your due diligence, do your work, do your research. This month does not mean that you cannot invest. You can do things very smartly. You can go in and out. You can do it very strategically, have small wins here and there. So this is something so very interesting where I teach my wealth alchemy students as well. Anyway, let's move on to the second most important thing I want to share with you is the fire penalty. A lot of you probably heard. Again, no fear around this. As soon as you know, fire penalty simply are the 3 different types of energy colliding. All you need to do is do not in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you will be fine. Even you have these 3 animals in your chart. So what I'm going to share is a few different layers, and you know exactly what to look for. Okay, so first of all, if you have your destiny charts, take it out and check. If you have the snake, the monkey, or tiger in your chart, and anywhere in your 4 pillars chart, okay, because we are in the year of tiger and we are in the month of snake. So most likely, I would say the monkey sign probably is being affected most. So I want to show you where does let's use monkey as an example, right? But if you have snake or tiger, it's the same theory. So for example, if you have monkey sign in the year pillar, what's the fire penalty translate or represents is basically like the events that most likely to manifest is sometimes is to do with fire, right? It's very simple. Fire explosion or fire accidents, anything to do with fire. So what you need to do is to be really cautious on a general level for everyone is we need to maybe check if you're building a house, if you are doing any renovation, be careful with all the electrical cords or whatever the running through the house. You need to double check, get a proper electrician to check for it, right? Or avoid any fire hazard around the house, around the office, or anywhere. So this is number 1. Second is a fire penalty sometimes can translate into accidents, like accidents having a fire explosion. So sometimes we may see in May, we may see things like this showing up in the news. So be really, really careful if you are traveling on the road, because as you can see that the tiger, the monkey, and the snake, they all traveling stars. So naturally, under the influence of the three traveling stars, like, if you have all these three showing up, then you might actually want to be on the road. You might want to be on the move. Then that is absolutely fine. For example, I'm traveling as well. I'm being influenced by this energy. All I need to do is to be extra careful when I'm driving on the road. That's all. Okay. So let's come back to this. If you have monkey or snake or tiger in the ear pillar, what does this mean? So the area that you need to focus on is be really careful when you're dealing with your social circle, with your friends or families or your networks, right? And sometimes the penalty or represents punishment, or it might means collision. So be really careful that what you say when you deal with friends, family, or sometimes it can also represent in the market and as well as specific industries. So pay attention to signs and the certain information that you see. So do not make any rush decision until that you've fully done your research. So this is in the year pillar, okay? So month pillar, one thing is actually also in year pillar, this also represents your grandparents. Now, in the month pillar represents the parents, or this because this is the parents' palace in the month pillar. So pay attention to if your grandparents or parents are elderly, take care of their heart, because fire is also represents the nervous system as well as the heart. So really go and visit them more, take more care of them, and if anything that do not feel right, check it out. Month pillar also means that colleagues and your work situation or careers and business. So this might mean there will be changes coming through. Things might be explosive, but what you need to do is really just take the calmly approach. Do not make any rush decisions until you fully see the whole picture. And many of you, if you're running, especially if you're running your own business, there will be changes. There will be system changes, operational changes, human resources changes, especially if you have any of these three signs sitting in the month pillar, okay? So take the changes as an opportunity. Do not see it as a crisis, okay? Day pillar. So if you have any of the three signs in your day pillar, pay attention to your marriage and partnership, to your relationship. Is your spouse, your husband, your wife are under certain stress, or they tend to be, and you might need to be in a place to support them or de-stress, or find the way to de-stress your relationship or this particular person, right? So pay attention and do not confront or using any direct approach that fueled this fire, right? Fire also represents the stress and frustration. So make sure, because it to do with the nervous system. And this can also actually reflect it on yourself. So when we under stress, we do not tend to make the right decision. We do not tend to see opportunities. Again, coming back to do not see its crisis, its opportunity. What can you do to make this as a gift, to create this change so that your life can be elevated? Okay. Now, lastly, the hour pillar represents your children. So maybe the stress might lie within this relationship with your children. And it can also mean the projects that you are currently undertaking. So things might showing up certain issues, challenges, problems. Again, see beyond that, because sometimes we can tweak a simple little thing. The whole thing will be completely different, right? And sometimes this one small changes can reveal something that will set up for the future. So this is something that I want you to really open up your vision. Do not see this as a penalty. The Chinese, from the old way of using these terminologies, can have a sense of fear in it. And part of the reason I want to really showing this different layer, how you can see this, is to empower you, is to allow you to drop that fear. Is this penalty? Yes, if you are taking a different approach, you're thinking, and you allow this actually to affect you, the effect would probably impact you more negatively. However, if you see the energy movement, you see how these things is actually about to unfold, you can prevent it, first of all, right? You can preempt it. You can move through this energy and to bring some benefit for future as well, right? To bring some future vision as well. So this is the beauty of when we actually diving into the energetic themes each month. So this is where the key theme I want to reiterate is to see opportunity within crisis this month. Even there is a certain configurations, we can so very much taking advantage of knowing this energy, and that make sure that we can utilize these opportunities to our advantage. Okay. And if this is the type of Feng Shui or Bazi or Chinese astrology teaching you would like to learn more, feel free to sign up for my newsletters. And because I share a lot of little tips like this in my community. So I will see you in next month podcast.